Well, there's always something to optimize. But first and foremost, you know that our PC portfolio, our controller portfolio is all about scalability. Small applications, CX 7000, 400 megahertz, a small device. Big applications, big PC, think 12 times, more than 2 gigahertz. And you can optimize by selecting the right size of the CPU for your application. So there is a lot of economic design built into our embedded PC and also in our IPC portfolio. But the only thing what is cheaper, what costs less money than using a smaller controller is not using a controller at all. Daniel, let's have a look at virtualization. What's behind that?
Yeah, so basically virtualization follows the concept of abstracting hardware through software, basically with the main idea to reuse the existing hardware resources more efficiently. And with our TwinCat runtime for Linux, for example, we have a similar concept. So with TwinCat for Linux, you can also use containers, which is also kind of virtualization, to host multiple TwinCat runtimes on one IPC. So you can basically use the existing resources more efficiently. And now this year, the next step would be to move those containers into existing resources, computing resources on your on-premise data centers or even in the cloud.
Okay, let me think. So if I have a big machine, 20 different stations, different things are happening every now and there, and maybe I decide for the reason of modularization I want to have a controller, an individual CX for every station. Now you are telling me I can have the same scalability, the same modularity, but now I don't have controllers which cost me money. I just have everything centralized on one device, but still they are separate?
Well, it depends a little bit on your task. So not every automation task can really, let's say, deployed in an on-premise data center on the cloud, mainly because of their limitations to real-time and deterministic requirements. So the customers really have to make up their minds about which tasks should be moved directly on the IPC next to the physical machine. Or maybe there are also some more less real-time requirement tasks that can be moved to the cloud or to the data center. And in these environments, they can then use their existing IT technologies, know-how, but also workflows to manage control tasks in that environment. So everything, or let's say these tasks can be managed a little bit more flexible. Maybe this is more cost efficient because you can reuse existing hardware, but in the end, you always have to make up your mind where you need to run the task, depending.
But a nice technology to maybe make maintenance a little bit easier, to harvest the resources which you already have, and to have a very, very lean system architecture also.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Welcome.
Now I would like to dig with Martin into another topic. Usually, when you are joining us, then it's about safety technology. And safety, in my mind, is first and foremost a yellow terminal. Is there anything to virtualize about safety technology?
Well, from the input and output point of view, you will always have yellow terminals because we have error detection in the terminals. But from the controller point of view, you are absolutely correct. You can also virtualize the safety controller in standard IPC hardware, for example. So you don't need to use a dedicated safety controller in the yellow terminal. You can use the high-performance IPC for the safety logic, for example.
Okay, I sense a small advantage, but what are actually the benefits of not doing it in the terminal but using the IPC?
Well, the first benefit I already mentioned is the performance, because in the yellow terminal we have small processors doing in heterogeneous redundancy the same logic. But within the IPC we have an Intel Core i8, for example, doing the safety logic. So it's quite fast in comparison to the safety controller. And we have more space on the IPC, so you can build very large safety projects on it.
Bigger safety projects, faster executed, correct?
Yes, but you always have the choice. What do you want? Do you want a centralized, very large safety project, or you want a distributed safety project? Because from the other side, from the validation and verification point of view, it's also suitable to do it in a separate terminal.
Okay, so both is possible, decentral and central solutions, just like with the virtualization.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Martin.
No problem.
And with